Hi guys, Shelly here with the Gray Wren Nest. If you remember back, if you follow me, I promised to share my whole cloth, cheater cloth quilt panel. This is the one that I made into that gorgeous baby blanket. Some of you call this whole cloth quilts. Some of you call it cheater cloth. Some of you call it a quilt panel. I like the term cheater cloth, and the reason I call it cheater cloth is look at all of these little tiny pieces you would have to sew together just to get your quilt panel top. And that would take a long time. So if you are in a rush like I am usually for my gifts, I want a go-to project where I already have the panel made and all I have to do is quilt it. So let me show you how I made it. And this might be like a three-parter because number one, I created this in Electric Quilt 8. And number two, I created companion fabrics with Repper. And number three, I printed it in Spoonflower. So I think today I'm going to share with you how I created it in Electric Quilt 8. And then there will be a part 2 series for Repper and a part 3 series for Spoonflower. That way I can go into detail and share exactly all of the steps. So follow along and I promise you won't be disappointed. Okay, so now we're in a different view here. I'm sharing my screen with you and I'm in Electric Quilt 8. This program I downloaded from the internet, went out onto the web. One day I just got this idea of, I really wish I could figure out a way to electronically put my ideas on paper rather than graphing them out on graph paper. Because I used to do paper pencil graphing of my quilt ideas. And for those of you who have been following me, you know that I've only been quilting for just a little over a year. In fact, it was like October was my first year anniversary. Now, I've been sewing for well over 50 years and embroidering for probably 15 years and working with leather for several years as well. So I have an extensive sewing background, but let me tell you, quilting is a whole nother world. And I kept thinking, there's got to be an easier way to develop your own patterns for quilting rather than putting them out on paper and pencil on a grid. So I went looking and I ran across this Electric Quilt 8 and oh my gosh, it was an aha moment. I thought, hallelujah, I found something that's going to be just what I need. And I'm so glad that I stumbled across it. Now I want to share it with you because I had several aha moments while working with this. And I'll show you how to create your own panel. And that is through this Electric Quilt 8. At least it's my first start because I have found other ways that are even quicker. But I promised to share with you how I created this panel. And this first one came from Electric Quilt 8. And I will likely go back several times to this program because I feel it gives me the true quilt look that I'm looking for in a panel, because I still want it to look like a pieced quilt. But then I also love companion fabrics to exactly match the colors that I pick. And those companion fabrics I want to be my own as well, and when I design them. And that's where Repper comes in. But I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. So let me stick here with Electric Quilt 8. And right now I'm showing you the front part of my screen here. And in this program, you have a way to develop your quilt from scratch with all these different types of quilt layouts. You can design your own blocks from scratch. You can import fabrics, which I will in the future show you how the fabrics I created over on Repper, I'm going to bring them into Electric Quilt 8 and design my quilts with my own fabrics, my own electronic swatches that I upload into this program. So that, not only am I not just using just colors, from a color palette to develop my cheater cloth, but I can truly say that I am developing the cheater cloth with my own fabrics that I designed. How cool is that? I hope I'm not losing you because I'm kind of mixing up my steps here. But it really is a cycle, a circle of what comes first. Do you develop your fabrics first and then bring them into the quilt world? Or do you have a quilt design in mind and you create it and then you go out and you design your fabrics to match what your quilt top is going to look like? So really it's a circle for me. There's not one starting point. Getting back to the screen, there is a quick start quilt project that you can start with. Searching for different blocks to bring into your quilt pattern. You can also search fabric swatches. Now, another thing that you can go here is keep all of your existing projects into one area, which is really nice as well. Okay, so since you've seen the project that I already created, I'm just going to go ahead and go in here to create new. Then I'm going to go into design my quilt from scratch. And I'm going to pick a layout. I'm going to design my own layout. Now, typically when you design a quilt, you think whole quilt. What do I want my whole quilt to look like? And that is great if you're designing a quilt pattern for others to use, such as, when you go to download a pattern from someone else, you get all the written instructions, you get a little coloring page. This program will do that, and it will also give you pattern pieces to copy. I found that very intriguing. In fact, after I studied some of the patterns from other people, I can guarantee you they made them in this program because everything you see in this program, I see in their pattern packages. So that just made me really excited because I'm on to something. But right now, for the purpose of this video, I'm showing you how to make a repeating surface pattern. So I'm only going to make 4 squares because these 4 squares will be the repeating pattern that will go across my yardage of the fabric. So I want to make sure that I do 2 across and 2 down. And I want, let's see, keep the finished size of the blocks. I want to keep them, let's just say 8. And the height is 8, so I got 8 by 8s here. And then we need to look at the sashing. And I think this time we'll do something a little different. It's nice to have sashing in separating the blocks. At least I think so. I didn't put it in my last one, but this time I'm going to, just to be a little bit different. So I'm going to include sashing border. And I think the sashing should be 2 inches. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, I did something terrible. But it's easy to fix here. 2, and we'll keep it the same. No. 2 and 2. I think what I need to do, because I'm looking at this right now, you have to think that this is going to be a repeating pattern. And everything you see right here is going to repeat again. And if this repeats again, it's going to be bigger than this. So we don't want that. So let's take off include sassy. Yes, there we go. We're going to take off the include sashing border. So that leaves me the border here in between. And it also leaves me a thin border around the edges. So when this whole block here, I'm going to call this one block. When this whole block repeats itself, this will double as well. And it'll be equal to what's here in the center. Let's see what that does for us. So next up here in our line, we're going to go to design, and that brings us to our quilt work table. We can pick these blocks here, but personally I think they're kind of boring right now. So we're going to go ahead and go to the open library and look at all these different blocks we have to choose from. It's pretty impressive, isn't it? Oh, let's see. What do we want? So we'll close this. And look, they're already over here in my library now. And we have these to pick from. So every time you start a new project, you just bring over the ones you want. I really like this one. Let's do that one for now. So we're going to put it in here and in here. I even like the colors that's already there. That's a really nice coloring. And then I think for simplicity, let's go more with, I think this would be too busy, don't you? Let's just give it a try. Whew. Oh yeah, that's overpowering. I don't like that. Let's try this one. Let's do that one and that one. Not a bad color scheme right there. Look at that. I like that. But you know what? I think I want to bring in some of this color here. Let's see. In fact, I want it to all be similar and matching. And let's pick this color here. Oh, look, it changes over here. Right there's the color. I want that color to go right here. And I want it to go right here, here, and here. And then I want to pick this color. Oops, didn't mean to do that. I forgot to change my dropper. Let's see what color. Let me go back to eyedropper and pick this color and change that one back. And then come over here, 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 and here. Wow. Loving it so far. Okay. Now, I think we need to pick our squares here. Here, here, here. And keeping in mind that this square here should mimic when these come together. So I'm going to end up with 1, 2, 3, 4. So I want to make sure that I have a block in here that's going to have 4 in it. So let me go over here to design. Let's see, which one do I pick again? I need to find the blocks again. Oh, here, block. Yes, look, I picked this here. So let's put this right here. Set block. This right here. Okay. And let's make it be pretty to pick these 4 colors, wouldn't it? Let's go back to my color palette again. Let's see. So I want to come over here to fabrics. And while I'm over here in fabrics, I want to show you something because I mentioned this earlier about making it my own. If I go over here to fabrics and I pick, look how beautiful these are. But look, this is by Melissa. Oh, look. Blossom by Dear Stella. This is Grunge by Moda. This is by Riley Blake, hashtag Riley Blake. So you have to be very careful. You do not want to pick the fabrics that are preloaded because if you do, then you want to go ahead and make this into your own fabric panel, you can't call it your own because it's not your fabric. You created it with someone else's fabric. So the safest bet is to just stick with the colors. And that's exactly what I'm doing. However, I also mentioned to you earlier that I am going to start uploading my own fabrics that I create from Repper into this. And Repper will be a part 2 series, most likely, because this one's getting pretty long. And I'll create fabrics and bring them into here. And then my blocks designs can have my own fabrics within. Just like I'm picking the colors, I can pick the fabric designs. So over here, I want to change these, getting back on track. I want to go over to my eyedropper again. And let's pick this color and put it right. Let's be opposite. Let's put it right here. And put it right. Let's try to pick 4 colors. I think 4 colors would be really pretty. Or maybe I should stick with my green to carry my green out more. Nate, you know what? I think I'm going to. Because otherwise I'm getting too many colors. So let's do this, and I think it's this one here. Put it here and here. Yep. Okay. So that means when I come over here to my corner, if this one's a dark green, then I want this one to be light green, and I want this one, and that doesn't, yeah, this one is a dark green, so I want this one down here to be, I can't really see it because my audio thing's in the way. Hold on, let me move it out of the way. I know you probably can't see it, but I can. So I want this one to be light green, and then the opposite this way. See, I'm trying to visualize that quilt in my mind. So this one is light, so this one has to be dark. Are you with me? And this one has to be dark. I think that's nice. And the borders, I really want to leave my borders white or cream. We could do cream. Or I think white's probably our best bet because wouldn't this just be gorgeous with some, free motion quilting or some type of an automated quilting design and all of this white? Oh, I can just see it in my mind. Can you? Okay. So I like this one. we're going to save it. But before I save it, I'm going to remember to remove my grid lines. And once again, if you've been following me, that's one thing I wish I would have done in the previous, is to remove my grid lines, because when you sew your pieces together and then you quilt it, your seam lines just kind of melt away. At least I think they do. And I prefer to have all of your stitching show and not black lines going through here. So I think that is gorgeous, and it's an XO. What do you think? I love it. Okay, so now I want to print and export. So let's come over here to print. And I can print as a whole quilt, which my whole quilt will be right here. Look, if I wanted to make this into an actual pattern, it would print my yardage. It prints my block, but I have to click on the block that I want it to print, so I don't want to do that one right now. It gives me templates for cutting. It gives me foundation paper piecing. It gives me rotary cutting directions. It'll give me a photo, and I can also print on my printer. And if I had any embroidery, it would give me my embroidery directions. How cool is that? Okay, so I want to go ahead and let's see if I say quilt. Right there it is. Look at it. Right there is my quilt. It's actually my block, but it's the quilt because it's no longer than, no bigger than that. I'm going to make one copy, and I'm going to say print overall size. I'm going to hit print and see what happens. Let's do preview first. Right there's my preview. Love it. I'm going to go ahead and say print. And I'm going to call this, I have to think of a creative name, but I can't right now. So I'm just going to say XO, because I'm going to make this into an actual pattern on fabric. So I'm going to say save to my desktop so I don't lose it. I'm going to say save. This next picture you see, I cropped the photo that I downloaded, and then I adjusted the pixels according to what I will need to go across a yard of fabric. But rather than sharing that now, I'll share it in the next video. That's either part 2 or part 3, because I think I'm going to go ahead and go into Repper next and do coordinating fabrics and then upload them all into Spoonflower. Spoonflower will be part 3, and I'll show you how to set up a storefront and sell fabrics. And for your previewing pleasure, I'm sharing some of the pictures from Spoonflower. Yes, I uploaded it already. Here it is. Curtains, blankets, pillows, shower curtains, table runners, and most importantly, fabric for our cheater cloth. Hope you enjoyed this. Stay tuned. If you like what you see, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in part 2 and part 3.